Welcome to another episode of Share the Vibes podcast. I am your host, Jink the DJ, founder CEO of Share the Vibes LLC. I'm glad to have you with us. Always a pleasure to come to you with these conversations, tell dope stories with dope people doing dope things. So glad to have you with us. I believe this is episode 3 of season 3, if I'm not mistaken. So looking forward to today's conversation. Before we hop into that, Mwanje, how are you doing, good brother?
Man, good. Can't complain, man. I haven't had to choke one of these kids out yet, so we good, man. Shout out to my HFCA students. Yeah, man, it's just really, really interesting. It's like you, as a teacher, and I got the fun class. I got the online marketing. I'm teaching them business. And so, but you still got them one kids that's like, I don't want to be here. This class sucks. So I'm like, it's cool. It's all right. You don't hurt my feelings. You want to go over there. Now down the hall, as I mentioned, as I've been showing you, Devin, the $1 million recording studio is down the hall. So everybody's getting, taken out of my class and going to the $1 million recording studio. And trust me, I want to be in there too, because, shout out to Mr. Hope and Mr. Grace that's running that studio over there. But yeah, man, it's just been a busy time. I'm in a different school environment, so things are different. I mean, you got after school programs. I have 150 kids. I'm going from 14 kids for the last 3 years to 150 kids. So
good gracious.
I feel so bad. Every period I'm trying to remember names, and I'm just like, I'm sorry. I know it's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks of school already, but I just cannot remember everybody's name thus far. And some kids stand out, and some kids is like, oh, you don't talk that much, so I really don't remember your name, but I'm trying.
Man, 150 is crazy.
150, but it dwindled down a little bit because I said they just, like this week, today actually, they just took some of the kids out of some of my classes. But I was, in some classes I had 36 kids. 36.
Yeah.
It was a lot. It was a lot, but all in all, it's fun, man. Like I said, it's a dope school and different school environment, something that I'm traditionally used to. But yeah, man, it's been fun. It's been a fun ride. It's been a fun ride so far. But other than that, that's
bless your ministry, brother. Shout out to all the educators out there. I know everybody back in school now. If you wasn't in school, you in school now. We passed Labor Day. I'm not gonna say the exact date this time, just in case something happened. But we all passed Labor Day now. So shout out to all the educators shaping and molding these young minds. Man, we can't do this thing without you.
I never heard kids cuss as much as I mean, when I tell you, I'm like, every single day I probably say watch your mouth at least like 50 times. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Thompson. I'm like, y'all just comfortable with it. Like, they just comfortable. And know how to put words together, too. Like, they put words together that maybe get some good cussing.
What grades you teach?
Mainly 12th graders. But I also have graders. Yeah. And the 12th graders are cool. But, but then the ones that think they're grown. So they just walking around cussing like, I'm like, come on now. You can't be talking like that now. Like, yeah. Come on now. You can talk to your friends like that, but don't. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's an interesting ride. It's an interesting ride.
Yeah,
it's an interesting ride.
Yeah. Well, you look back on it and be joyful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, well, shout out to you, man, and all that you do. Make sure you're following Audio Moguls Media. Click that link in the description. Check out the website. Follow the IG page. We are part of the Audio Moguls Media Podcast Network. A lot of dope podcasts on there. So if music isn't your thing, I mean, you're here, so it must be close enough. Maybe just like us. But nonetheless, there's some other things out there on the network, so definitely check those out. How many podcasts on the network now? It's a good number.
Yeah, I think about 5. I want to say 15. 15. I just started doing mine this past month. Mogul Talk is the latest one I did. And yeah, we got some more folks on the way. That's the crazy part.
Hey, man, building it up, man. Building it up. That's what's up, man. So yeah, definitely tap in with Audio Moguls Media Network and engage with us across all of our social medias. All those links are in the description. So tap in with us. But hey, back with another special guest. Every guest is special. So this brother here, we met. We were just talking about this before we started recording. We met 11 years ago, and don't think we've seen each other in person since then. Been connected on socials ever since. But good brother, Alpha Phi Alpha. I used to know your chapter name. Ain't it got Row in there somewhere?
Bro Gamma.
There
Yeah.
we go, CC. I know a little something, man.
Yeah, he remembers.
But yeah, man. Shout out to the homie Trey Hope, aka Travisty, with us today. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I can't complain. Life is moving. I appreciate y'all for having me on the show today. And yeah, I'm just doing good, man. I'm glad to be here.
Hey, man, we're glad to have you on, man. So today I'm gonna start this one a little differently. I want to give a quick shout out to the Delta class of the Alpha Phi Alpha College Life, the Corporate Life program. So C2C Delta, if you're listening, shout out to y'all. Want to dedicate this episode to our C2C Delta class brother, Ernest. Dang, why am I blanking on Ernest's last name right now? Dang, that's crazy. And I know it too. But Ernest is Free Radical on IG. I think that's free.radical, but that's spelled RADICLE, not CAL. But Ernest, I know that brother's last name, man. I can't believe I forgot his last name. But Ernest, Free Radical on IG, suffered a brain aneurysm a few months ago. So he's been kind of in and out of consciousness a good little bit over the last few months. I know he has been able to open his eyes now. I know they're able to get him out of the room. I think he's getting ready to go home this fall. So if you go to his IG page, and we'll put the link in the description so you can support. But they are collecting funds because they got to do about $60,000 worth of home renovations to make it where they can take care of him when he is back home. I think about a month after this happened, his son was born. So 2 kids, got a infant baby there. And he's trying to heal and fight through this whole brain aneurysm situation that had him in a coma for a while. So shout out to their brother Ernest. Again, that's free.radical, RADICLE on IG. Link is in the description. Just want to encourage you to go support, share the story, share it with somebody else. If you don't have the funds to donate, at least look into it, spread the word, and support that family. That's a good brother doing great things where they're located. So we're going to dedicate this to good brother Ernest, another C2C Delta 36 class member. So shout out to you, Ernest, and we praying for your healing and well-being, brother.
Absolutely.
So with that, man, Trey, so you are in Ohio? Was it Columbus, Ohio?
Dayton, Ohio. Really, more specifically, Trotwood, Ohio. People probably don't know Trotwood, though, so I say Dayton for people who don't know. But yeah, Ohio, Southwest Ohio.
Oh, you said Southwest Ohio. And we were talking about earlier, I went to Cleveland. How far is that from Cleveland?
About good 4 or 5 hours driving. It's like you pretty much going across Ohio, north, east, up into the corner.
Got you.
So yeah, it's a little ways out.
You say Southwest Ohio?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I got distracted. My wife came in with some glass, and we ain't got no bourbon in here, so she done brought me something. That's old fashioned. Hold on.
It's old fashioned. We'll tell you
this. I guess that's what that is. I don't know. Hey, guess we got some good neighbors because shout out to them.
Bourbon is there or whatever it is. I don't know what it is.
Yes. Well, hey, we're gonna have a good episode. All right, then let's go. All right, so Southwest Ohio, Dayton, man. Maybe let's start with one fun fact about Ohio most people may not know.
Man, you put me on the spot with that because I don't even want to act like I'm Mr. Ohio or nothing. I guess one fun fact: Bow Wow's from Ohio.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was just about to say you. I was just about to say you ain't gonna say you had like the Bow Wow posters in your room or something.
Nah, I gotta. When we talk about legends, I don't even know if Bow Wow claim Ohio like that, but he is from Ohio. That's a legend.
I know for a while I thought he was from Atlanta, but he used to talk about. I think he's from Columbus, right?
Yeah.
I think he used to talk about
Ohio
it in his music.
Where I'm from.
Yeah, I think he used to talk about it. I don't know if he still does as much. I would imagine so, just because that type of stuff you tend to embrace a little bit more as you get older. But
yeah,
I think he used to claim Ohio. Yeah,
he definitely shouted out Ohio on that. All I wanna do is see you bounce with me, with me. He definitely shot Ohio in there. So yeah,
Shout out to
that's a
Bow
legend.
Wow,
Ohio
man.
legend.
Bow Wow is definitely a legend, man. He crazy, but he a legend.
Forgot about that record. That was a good record, man. I still got the Bow Wow. I still got the Bow Wow CD in my closet in here.
That's the only album I ever actually physically had. My grandma bought me the Beware of the Dog album. That's the only album I ever had.
That's tight. That's tight. That's tight.
Yeah, I know I still got the Light Mike soundtrack in the car, and I got his was that Unleashed, the album that had Fresh on Miz on it, whatever album that was. I got that in the car. It's like I think that was Unleashed or something after that. But yeah, I definitely got whatever Fresh on Miz is on. That's in the car. I got the Light Mike soundtrack. That's in the car too. So yeah, shout out to Bow Wow, man. Might have to get Bow on the pod one day.
That's classic Bow Wow.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't think he ever. People say he fell off. I don't think he ever really fell off. It just wasn't the same Bow Wow. But I think he had a lot of good music consistently for a lot of years.
Yeah.
You can't really take that away
He
from
had a
him.
run, and we saw him when he did the last Millennium tour. We were still in Milwaukee, and hey, Bow Wow, he closed out the show. Granted, no, I think Omarion was designed to be the headliner, so Omarion was up there like an hour. Bow Wow his 15 minutes at the end, but Bow Wow closed out the show, but it was a solid 15 minutes. Like he was running them, boom, just like that verses. It was like, okay, like if you fell asleep, you better wake up. So hey, shout out to Bow Wow, man. Bow Wow. Yeah, I got no problems with Bow Wow, and he had a couple of tracks within the last few years that was decent too. I'm blanking on the names right now, but he had dropped like one or two. I was like, hold on, yeah, okay, and I was hoping he was going to drop like a project or something with it, but it hasn't happened. But I definitely think he could drop something that it'd be a problem, honestly. Yeah, man.
Yeah, Bow Wow, he's one of them.
Yeah, for sure. So Trey, let's get into it a little bit. Maybe just to start, kind of let people get a little bit more about who you are. So we say you're from Southwest Ohio. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing, your childhood. What's kind of been your journey, your background to getting you to where you are today?
Yeah, so man, that's a good question. So I'm from Trotwood, Ohio, suburb, Southwest Ohio. I guess like how I kind of got into computers was my mother was a web designer when I was a child.
Okay.
So growing up, I got exposed to computers pretty early compared to other kids may have, because a lot of them I feel like they may not have got exposed until middle school or something like that. But like early on, I remember playing games like The Sims and Roller Coaster Tycoon and things like that on the computer. So so like just being around that years and years after years is like by the time I got to high school, I started like working with computer programs like Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, and I was starting to gain interest just in the idea of a computer application in itself. So by the time I got to college, it kind of makes sense for me to try something out like that. Like when I first got to college, they threw me in mechanical engineering because I just was just taking whatever, but I didn't really like that too much.
Yeah.
But then I just said, you know what, let me try like computer programming, computer science degree. And from there, I wrote my first program. From there, I saw how powerful it was to instruct a computer on what to do and then to execute some type of task for you. And so I just fell in love with it from there, and never really looked back. I just fell in love with software development from that point on. And now I'm kind of trying to bridge the gap between software development and music, because that's like another passion of mine.
Yeah.
That I kind of tiptoed in back and forth as I was growing up, because there hasn't really been like a bridge between those two communities just yet. And it's like when I'm in the tech world, I don't want to be the hip hop guy, because it's like, you know what I'm saying? That's not really office friendly. But when I'm in the hip hop world, I guess you could say the tech stuff is lame, So it's two worlds that I'm just trying to show like they're more similar than they are different.
Yeah.
And I'm having fun with that in itself. So.
Man, there's so much in what you just said, man. And Mwanje know me, my wheels always turning, and I'm connecting dots and people in my head all the time. So, we may share the vibes to do just that, be that bridge between music and technology, and use that to bring people together and form meaningful relationships. So we connect people through music and technology. That's the tagline. That's what we're all about. So I share the Vibes Fest. Each festival, it starts with a tech workshop. This year was around using AI to build generational wealth. We have a live podcast, which this year was around the impact of AI on the entertainment industry. And the rest of the day was live performances from emerging artists. And you have these artists hearing how they can use AI and technology to be better at their business. Mwanje had a table set up at Travisty Fest this year with Suno.com, where people literally made songs using AI, and they could leave there with something tangible. So there's definitely a connection between music and technology. And then we start talking about engineering and production. One J likes to nerd out. We start talking about Fruity Loops and all these other things with making these beats and these softwares and tools. There's a lot of tech that goes into this. So I love hearing you say that, and it's exactly what we're trying to do here at Share the Vibes. So you're in the right place, brother, first and foremost. So I want to go back. So, you talked about growing up, getting exposure to computers at an early age because your mom was a graphic designer, I think you said. So, I wasn't like doing like graphic design and things, but pretty young. My godparents had a computer. We didn't have one at our house, but like when I went to my godparents' house, like, hey, y'all, how y'all doing? I went right to the computer. I was playing solitaire, Minesweeper, Free Cell, all that stuff. Yeah. When we were in elementary school, that's when Oregon Trail was big, and I was on there shooting turkeys and stuff. And all that. Yeah, that brought back memories right there. Yep. Core memory unlocked. So, now I used to like doing the games and stuff and just wondering like, how does this stuff even work? This is still when you had encyclopedia sets. Like Google wasn't that big just yet, so you had to look in the books and stuff to find your information. And I wish I spent a little bit of time at that age just learning how coding worked and how to like hello world screens and stuff. I started to do some of that a little bit later, but we grew up in a time where it was almost like mandatory to take those computer classes, so we kind of ushered in this kind of new tech emergence. Like computers have been around before we were born, but we kind of ushered it into being what it is today. So I remember taking that keyboarding class in middle school. You had to take the test, and you couldn't look down at the keyboard and had to type the sentences and all that stuff, get your words per minute. So you talked about one day you kind of got into the coding side of things. How old were you when you kind of did that first coding project or experiment you spoke of?
Yeah, the first program, it was my freshman year of college, so
Okay.
2010.
Okay.
First program I ever wrote. Yeah.
Okay. So you was in college when you started doing it. Man, what was it like, man? Like, I don't know, what was that first time like? What did it do for you?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, I don't know. You ever seen the movie Limitless? I don't know if you ever seen that.
I've definitely heard of it.
Justin Timberlake? No.
It's It's Bradley Cooper, one of the two. But he pretty much takes like a pill that allows him to like unlock more components of his mind. So he's smarter, quicker on his feet, sharp thinking, stuff like that. So if I had to compare it to some, I would say it's like in that moment the switch clicked and I like kind of saw like, all right, where this can go.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling a computer to do something that's obviously going to give me some type of time back with whatever task I'm instructing it to do.
Yeah.
So I didn't know exactly what that looked like. I didn't know I would be here today. Right. I didn't know I would be talking to y'all. You know what I'm saying? But in that moment, I knew that, all right, I'm stepping into a new world. So I'm gonna just see where this goes, and I'm gonna rock with it.
No, that's hard, man. I remember. I think my first time starting to. I'm trying to make sure there's nothing I did in high school, like a 4-H camp or something. But I remember my first, really the only programming class I had was my junior year, I believe, at Miles. I had an intro to programming logic. And I wish our MIS curriculum in my Miles Management Information System. So I wish our MIS curriculum would have had a little more coding in it. Like I had a database class, and I had I think I might have had a networking class. We learned about like network architectures and how to set up databases and those structures and things. But I know being MIS, I also had accounting and marketing and all that stuff, which I'm super glad for that. But I wish I had a little bit more programming. Like I wish I had just been able to get like real solid in at least one language, a Java, Python, or something. But in that intro to programming language, we were using Small Basic, which most of the people I talked to, don't even know what Small Basic is because you're not using it for anything. But that class did help me to understand just how coding works. So when I'm listening to some of your code flows and you talking about encapsulation and object-oriented programming and things, like I remember learning those concepts using Small Basic. And I just remember that I just felt so smart being in that classroom, in that lab. Like, hey, all right, move this number. It's in this box up here in the top left. Move it to the bottom right. And you had to do no if this and that and move it over here and go this takes forward and learn about all the binary, all this. Like I just felt like the smartest man in the world. And using my little small basic, doing these simple coding programs. So that was 2010. So it's 2024 now. So that's 14 years in the game.
Yeah, man. 14. Yeah, for sure. It don't even feel like that, honestly. Like a lot of the times I kind of feel like my life been on autopilot ever since I kind of got into tech, and I be forgetting like when it actually started. It's so ingrained in me now that it's like I don't even know what Trey would look like not in tech at this point.
So because you've had a front seat, like a front row seat to the evolution of tech. If you're doing the coding and the programming, like you're in the behind the scenes side of this whole technical evolution that we talk about all the time. So I mean, in your words, how would you explain or describe the evolution of tech? Let's just say over these last 14 years since you started in 2010, and I guess how have your skills evolved with that evolution?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say like the evolution of tech, from what I've been able to witness, is I feel like we're constantly making it. The goal, I think, with technology is to constantly make it easier for people to use the technology. And I've noticed like even with like app development today, frameworks like Flutter, like what I used to work with, I think it's like probably the easiest framework to start with if you're trying to get into development, in my opinion. It's like playing with Legos. But I know that 14 years ago there was no Flutter. There was no easy transition. There wasn't a tricycle that you could really ride into programming. You just had to kind of just jump into it. And I think that back then could like steer a lot of people away from even considering software development. So I would say like from my perspective, the evolution of it has been amazing because now I can easily go to whoever, family member, it could be whatever age, and say, hey, try out Flutter if you want to just practice around with it. And it's easy enough for them to pick it up, but complex enough for them to do a lot of amazing things as well. And so it's been good on moving forward in that front. As far as my skill sets, I think I've just been I've always been like very passionate about like doing like personal projects. Like before a job would even look at me for a certain skill set, I want to just make something myself using that skill set. And I think that's like the best way I've actually learned in life is not waiting for the job to give me the expertise, but let me just figure it out myself and just have it in my repertoire. So my skill sets, it's been a while since I learned a new language. I should pick up like Python or something just because I've been kind of stuck. I've been zoned in on Flutter so much, but the skill sets, they still going up.
And Flutter, you say and I'm gonna let you get in next. I just want to clarify something, 1J. So Flutter, I think you say it's a platform, not a language. So is Flutter like a zero code type situation where you kind of like drag dropping type things or something else?
So now it's a software development framework, and the programming language that it uses is called Dart.
Okay.
And I believe that's managed by Google. But the framework itself allows you, it's still coding, but you're able to make an application for multiple platforms with one single code base. So for example, back in the day, if you had an iOS app and an Android app, you would need an iOS developer and an Android developer. Obviously, that's a lot of time, a lot of resources, a lot of money. And then not to include like web developers for the web platform and so on and so on. But with Flutter, their goal and what they've been able to accomplish is we can handle all these platforms from one single code base.
Dope.
And so as you can imagine, everyone's like, they're kind of flooding into this type of market now as far as like the hybrid framework to where one code base makes all these things. So that's probably why I've been using it so much, is because if it covers so many platforms, I haven't thought to like, let me go back to web development. I'm already in Flutter, or let me go to desktop, or because I've been stuck on Flutter.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mwanja. I didn't mean to cut you off a second ago.
You're good. I'm glad you looked at it because I definitely went to flutter.com and checked it out because I got some ideas I want to test out. But you said that though because Devin, you said that when you was taking the program that you did take, you felt amazing. You felt smart. It was opposite for me. So when I went to MSOE, I thought I wanted to be an electrical engineer. And of course, he was like, the guy was like, my advisor at the time was like, yeah, if you want to, instead of taking intro to EE, you can start out with the business part first, because they always say at the time, they said that, when you are an engineer, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get right into management. So that's why they coupled the management and then the technical stuff together. And so I just fell in love with the management side, the business side of it, as opposed to the mathematics side to it. But I had to take C++, and I forgot the gentleman's name. He was a black professor, and he would travel from Illinois or Chicago to Milwaukee because I don't know why would you want to do that, but he did. He took the train every class period, and so I remember us having to like program the board to light up. But I remember Hello World, and for the life of me, I could not get it. I could not get it. And I'm like, that was discouraging because I was the only, besides him, I was the only black kid in the classroom. I was the first one to come into the classroom and the last one to leave, and still not getting it. And so it was discouraging to me because I'm like, okay, yeah, this ain't for me because I'm not getting it, and nobody want to sit down and actually show me this. He lives in Illinois, so he got a window from when he leaves the MSOE to go back home. So it was very discouraging. But that's why I wanted to ask you, Trey, is that was there any point in your career where you were like, okay, this ain't, I'm not necessarily seeing a lot of people in my field, and as I start to grow with this language, have you ever ran into that, like maybe this ain't it, or this is more tougher than I thought it was?
Yeah, that's a great question, because like I don't know if I ever felt like this ain't it, but there was definitely times where it got tough, and I was just like, is it worth it? Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, I guess I always like the challenge just because of who I am, but there is times where like you walk into a classroom and you're the only black dude, and you kind of don't want to ask questions because you asking a question, they looking at you, dang, he don't know that. Right. Why is he in here? And this could all just be pressure that I put on myself. It's not necessarily anything. They may have not even been thinking that, but just as the only black person in that classroom, you have those type of thoughts. But it definitely, like, it was a challenge, but I can't really say there was a time where I was like, nah, I'm done, or I'm gonna stop, or anything like that. I just questioned, all right, how does it make sense to keep going with this, or this type of technology? Maybe I should do a different version, or maybe I should do like back end. But I always felt like I should still stick with it in some capacity.
What was that conversation like with your family? Like, I know you said your mom you got introduced computers early, but you told them that you wanted to be in this software field and coding. Like, did they get it right away? Did they understand it? Or was it something that you kind of had to sit there and explain? Because when I told my grandfather and my parents, like, I'm going to be an electrical engineer, they just heard engineering. They was excited. And then when I switched over to marketing, it was like, who? Mark? I was like, no, marketing. I was like, oh, okay. What's that about? How much money can you make in that? So what was that conversation like?
I think they understood it for the most part because, like, since my mom was already, and I misspoke earlier. My mother was a web designer, not a graphic designer, so it was a little bit more hands on with the actual like web development aspect.
Oh, okay.
But so with that being said, I think they kind of already knew what could potentially come from some type of computer science degree or computer science job. So the conversation, it really wasn't too much. I just said, this is the path I'm gonna try out, and they was rocking with it.
Was your degree computer science?
Yeah.
Okay. And what school is that again?
Northern Kentucky.
Northern Kentucky. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, I think we kind of jumped right in and started nerding out a little bit. But maybe let's level set the listeners. What is it that you do?
Yeah. So, software developer. That's been kind of like my main skill set for like the past 10 years. That's what I've been doing for like the full-time development. But I really just, I like to explore different technologies and build things that could potentially help someone in the future. And I'm not, and when I say that, it's like I might be bored one day and just think, okay, maybe this website could have some benefit for a small business, and I'm gonna actually go with that venture for a while. Right now, I'm working on a website for one of my friends. His aunt has a coffee shop, and I like working on that type of project because I could see it firsthand how it would benefit someone. I'm not really too big on just developing just to develop now. I kind of want to put a purpose with the development because it's such a valuable skill set.
Yeah.
So that's really what I do in a nutshell. But on top of that, I've recently got into this code flows as we spoke about earlier, and that's kind of my way of one kind of giving back and teaching these concepts in a more digestible format for people,
Mm-hmm.
while also allowing me to be able to learn more about it. Because if I'm teaching someone, I'm in a sense learning about it myself, and then also it's a passion of mine. Like I said earlier, those are two worlds that I kind of balance back and forth, and so code flows and then just like random development. It's kind of like what I do right now is my passion.
Yeah, and I'm excited. We're gonna get into code flows. Yeah, I'm looking forward to today's vibe talk. Just and to maybe clarify that a little bit. So, with your development, are you full time entrepreneur with that? Do you work like corporate as well? Are you doing both? What's your setup right now?
Nah, so I do work corporate. It's funny we have this conversation because like I'm currently on the market looking again because like my job recently they had budget cuts and had to let people go.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm currently looking for another role right now. But yeah, it's corporate right now. Um, really just more so like I kind of in my mind I would love to retire by 35.
Yeah.
You know, I know that's optimistic. I'm 32 right now. That's optimistic. I got 3 years, but I really don't want to do these same type of roles for too much longer. I really just need my time back, and then I could become that type of entrepreneur, I guess, mindset,
Yeah.
and have that mindset. So, yeah, I'm optimistic about doing that. Um, being able to still be in the tech world, but on my time and making what I want to produce.
Yeah. And do you have a business as well? I know you say you're working like websites for small businesses and things like that. So do you have your own business also that you're doing these things through, or is it kind of freelancing on your own right now?
It used to be business, actual business back in the day, but I think for me, I was always I was always getting too ahead of myself when it came to having a business. Like I'm gonna go out and get an LLC. I gotta get a website. I gotta get a logo. But I don't got no clientele yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I noticed when I stopped treating it so business mind, like just business focused, and just said, you my homie. I know your aunt. I want to make this website. I've found I've been able to stick with and consistently produce something when it's labeled as that. But when it's the business, I'm so gung ho on making it operate and be visually appealing as a business that I forget the actual inner workings of what has that business running in the first place.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So I was not right now. It's not really a business. It's more so just Trey having fun, experimenting, helping out.
Yeah. Got you. No, for sure. Man, it's been a lot of good stuff coming up in here, man. I'm trying not to hold the conversation, but also trying to remember. I'm having a lot of thoughts as you're talking.
Yeah.
Like there's somebody I definitely want to make sure you're connected to if you're not connected already. And I'm thinking about how I can share the vibes, make something happen. Like there's a lot of stuff flowing in my mind right now. Mwanje, what's going on? I see your wheels turning.
Yeah, no, same thing here. So it was interesting because I went through the Blueprint program last year. Shout out to Q and Cleve through Young Enterprise Society. And and one of the things I told them throughout that program is I've been looking to build this app. Even with Nadia and her students, they kind of got me with the blueprint of this app that I was trying to create for Audio Moguls Media, which is a simple app of just having all the podcasts that I produce on this app and being able to have people download the app, listen to the episode, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And talking to the guy from I guess he was like my mentor through the program, and he just kept it 100 with me. He said, "Man, look, I'm gonna be real with you. If you wanted the app that you're looking to build, which is once again, it's just really simple app. Well, the MVP I was trying to get done was this. I just need my podcast to be played, liked, subscribed, all that good stuff. That's all I need for right now. Everything else down the line, y'all can pay and tip each other, blah blah blah, all that stuff down the line is cool." He was like, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be like $75,000 to get the thing. I started coughing. I was like, no, fam, no, I'm gonna figure this out. Like, no, I'm gonna figure this out myself. And then here we go, lo and behold, AI, ChatGPT comes around, and Claude and Google Gemini and all these different apps coming around now, and it's like I can just tell it what to do. And they can give me like a little simple type, or even start the code all for me, and then go from there. And then now I'm gonna actually definitely take a look at Flutter. But I don't know, man. It's just weird, like how I don't know. I guess it's not coding is starting. They're starting to get a little bit more democratized with AI, but there's still some gatekeepers with it. And even my students, trying to get them to code, they're like, I want to do that. I want to, but they want to have an app, or they use so many apps and things like that. So I don't know. I guess it's just, how do we demystify software engineering or coding in general, so that people can understand that, there is no code, there is AI, there is people that look like Trey that can do it for you, and do it in his way that is cool, fly, and swaggy. And he can write, he'll make a song about it. So I don't know. Those are the things that just run through my mind right now, because, like I said, Trey, you're really doing something that's unique, and needed in this environment. So I don't know if there's anything you want to speak to in that, but that's what was going through my brain when you were talking.
No, I mean that's everything you're saying is very valuable. It's a question that should be asked. You know what I mean? As far as how we to the earlier point bridge this gap. You know what I'm saying? Because from my personal belief, and I had this conversation with homies from time to time, as far as like we'll ask each other like, what do you think has like a greater impact on children, the parents or the music that they listen to? And like unanimously, my homies will always say the parents, because that's where home starts. And I feel them on that to a certain extent.
Me too.
But for me, I'm gonna say music solely because I think the music, it extends the household, because like once they leave the house, it's what they turning on that they're also consuming. So they definitely listen to the rules and the guidance of their parents, but at the end of the day, they're also about to go around with their friends and consume a different type of story, or a different type of set of habits. You know what I'm saying? So I enjoy like trying to make a different, I guess like I said, the code flow is a different approach to that music, to where it's like maybe just for one night, maybe just on a random Friday night, they want to play a code flow instead of playing Future. I'm not sure why they would, but let's say they do. They just pop it on. Now, just for that 60 seconds, all right, they just got something out of it, to where like the next day they may ask, okay, I heard Flutter in this rap last night. Let me go check it out. I don't know what it is yet, but let me just go check it out. So I want to just keep doing stuff like that, because I feel like deep down the music is going to extend farther than any human reach possibly can, because it's one of the things that's been around for so long. We've seen the impact generation from generation. It's a global trend. It's not just one set of people that use music. Everybody uses it. So if you use music, you're talking to everybody. So yeah, I think that's definitely a very valid question to ask. It's like how we keep bridging that gap, and I'm just trying to figure out the easiest way to do that.
And hip hop in particular, like what most popular genre in the world right now. At least that's what they say. I haven't fact checked that, but it's definitely believable. So to your point, it transcends race, it transcends gender, religion, geography. It's truly global in nature in every sense of the word. So getting these messages out in this way, where it's catchy enough where you want to hear it, where you can vibe to it on a Friday night. But then, like you say, reflect on a Saturday morning, like, wait a minute, what did Trey say? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. All right, yeah, I got, okay, we got something. Man, as you're talking, man, and one day we're going to have to get him on the pod too. So, but my guy Jakim, I don't know if you know Jakim Battle, but he's frat too.
Jakim?
Jakim?
Stop playing. I know Jakim, man.
Jakim?
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
He, so random, I don't know if it's random, it's part of my story, but I used to live in Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
And good friend of mine, Najee, shout out Najee. He went to Fort Valley. I believe Jakim went to Fort Valley.
Yeah.
So he knew Jakim. So I met Jakim through Najee pretty much, and I know
Okay.
Jakim be rapping too.
Yeah,
Jakim got bars too.
I'm trying to
I gotta
told you.
give him his props.
Trying
Yeah,
to
yeah,
told
yeah,
you.
yeah. But yeah, I know Jakim from like back in like
Yeah.
2015.
So after we did
Yeah.
C2C, Jakim didn't do C2C, but we both interned at GE Healthcare that summer. So like literally first day of orientation, I pull up, don't know the culture. I pull up in a pinstripe suit, tie, got my C2C lapel pin on. I ain't see a single blazer in the building that day. But Jakim like spotted me across the room. All right, it's a tall black dude in a suit with looks like a black and gold pin on. I bet he's fresh. So he wanted to introduce himself to me.
Yeah.
We've been cool ever since. So but you know, Jakim
Yeah.
got STEM as the new black. So he does a lot of the things you're talking about, kind of bridging that gap. And it's not necessarily just music and tech, but he'll go into a classroom and talk about how many people want to be in the NBA. The chances of you being in the NBA are this, but you could go to the NBA and be a statistician. You could go and be a coach. You could do like the data analytics behind the scenes, and you could make this salary, to get to the money point you're trying to get to, but still be close to something you want to do, even if you're not doing even if you're not going the route you think is the only route to get there. So I definitely want to get him on the pod pretty soon. So I'm gonna reach out to him and get him on here. But man, I'm just envisioning you, Jakim, number one, Jay getting Leo in there, Leonard Nevada. We did an episode a while back. If you go back, the guy in Milwaukee, he actually developed an app called Afro Charts. And it's essentially like a Spotify or Apple Music, a title, but it's all African music. He built it himself from the ground up. He's from Africa. He lives in Milwaukee now. But it's not just Afro beats. It's legit across the entire diaspora. Playlist for like each country, the different genres within African music. Super dope app. You should check it out. But I'm just imagining something where we got you, Jakim, Leonard. Maybe we get Christopher Perceptions in with No Code Clarity. And he does music too. And we just bridge this gap. I don't know exactly what it looks like. I don't know if it's at a Share the Vibes Fest or what, but my wheels are turning. And me and Mwanje talk about these types of things a lot. So
let's go.
More to come on that. More to come on that. But there's a gap to be bridged, and Share the Vibes could be the vehicle to make that happen.
That's definitely the next podcast for sure. I could see that. If we can get all of them on the panel or the podcast, not panel, podcast, that's going to be a good conversation. That's going to be a good conversation.
That's crazy. It's crazy that you knew Jakim. I haven't talked to him in a little while, but I remember back in the day. I remember STEM as the new black when he was pushing back then as well. So that's and stuff like that is like why I'm also a big fan of like the tech and the music, because it's like those are two things that they're like easy icebreakers for the world. Like tech can get you a lot of places in the world. Music can get you a lot of places in the world. And if you like are on the conveyor belt for both of those simultaneously, it's kind of exponential as far as the impact and the reach that you can gain with that.
Man.
What was your high school like? Like what being in computers and being into music, like what was that for you in high school? Like what were you the guy of? Everybody tried some type of identity in high school. Like what were you the guy of in high school?
So I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't into computers all the way in high school yet. The biggest thing that I was doing was like I was with Photoshop a lot. So I remember like I was like photoshopping like just corny mixtape covers of myself and like it was my album and stuff like that. But like back in high school, this was like before the computers and stuff. So I guess you could say I was more known for the music because I was part of like me and my homies. Shout out my homie DH, my homie Major. Like those were the guys that I hung around and I got into music because of them. And so I kind of got known by being with them and making music. So the high school wasn't really the computer Trey that we know today. It was more Travisty. You know what I'm saying?
But even then, though, being able to you Photoshop yourself into different album covers and things like that, and the Master P get a rep for having his album cover. Like looking back at it today, I'm like, that's a whole hot mess. Them album covers, man. It's just there's a lot going on. There's fire in the back, block letter words, and just a tank. What is a tank doing in there? Like, it's just weird. It worked. It worked. It worked. So No, that got to be dope too, because now you can make your own album covers and things like that. And around that time, when was that Piff? That Piff was around our era. Was it?
Yup, that Piff. That Piff had a run
Yeah,
too.
that
I'm trying to think.
I think, was it around the
Like 06?
year?
Yeah. 06 to 10?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe.
I think so. And that Piff was it, man. That was it. Trying to get your mixtape on that Piff was the thing. And so that's dope. So but
yeah, they shut down last year. Actually, I think they shut down in 2022 or 2023. I was a little heartbroken on that one, man. 'Cause a lot of good mixtapes. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I got exposed to like a lot of. I knew who Wayne was, but like mixtape Wayne is a different category of Wayne that that Piff really pushed. You know what I'm saying? Like So I was kind of heartbroken when they closed down, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So let's talk about Travisty. How did you get Travisty? Because you talked about it in high school. You're hanging out with Major, and who's also been pivotal in some of the records that a lot of the records that you've done. Just kind of like how did we get there? How did we get there?
Yeah, man. If for real, hanging around the right people, you know what I'm saying? Just in high school, trying to find friends, but finding people that are trying to do something better for their life. We was young kids. We don't really know what we're doing yet, but we just try not to do the wrong thing. And Major and DH, they were good guys, you know what I'm saying? So I just naturally gravitated towards them off of that, you know what I'm saying? But then once I saw that they were doing music, they were doing it to a level where like they were doing talent shows, like had studios at their house, you know what I'm saying? And I would see people from like all around high school like come in and out and recording stuff. Like he was known for that type of environment. You want to record something in the city, you can come to Major's house. So being around that, I just naturally was like, let me try it. You know what I'm saying? And I remember like the first rap I made was like, I typed it out. I don't know why I was typing it. I didn't have like notebook and pen. So I came to the studio with like Times New Roman font of like my verse.
Hilarious.
And
Times New Roman.
Yeah, just looking back is like I don't fit the, what do you say, the aesthetic of a rapper, but I kind of, once you hear me, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, just being around them and guys that wanted to do better, I think I just naturally got interested in it. And then same thing with coding, tried it out once and then just never looked back. So that's how I got into music from an early age around high school.
Yeah, man. Travesty. That's dope, man. Yeah, how'd you come up with the name Travesty?
Yeah.
Man, it was so my favorite rapper of all time is Lupe Fiasco.
Okay.
Right. And I remember he had like an interview where he was talking about how he named himself Fiasco because it was like he was trying to kind of like a moniker of like, I'm so great that I'm like a fiasco to these other rappers. But then he said it also was like a scar for him because it's like some people interpret it as Lupe is a fiasco, like he's not good. And so I think I kind of just admired the duality in that name. And at first I was trying to do something corny like Travisty. But my homie Major was like, my homie Major was like, nah, cut that. We're not doing that. I'm not gonna let you. We're not gonna let you go out like that.
Travesty is wild.
Looking back, Travesty is insane. But that's when Travesty was just like the next thing that made sense because it's an actual word and then it's so close to my name. So that's where Travesty came from.
Oh man, that's funny.
He used to hate when I would joke and be like, "It's Travisty." He stopped the beat. He used to hate that.
Imagine Funkmaster Flash. It's Travesty. I'm like, no.
Oh, that's funny. How long were you typing out your raps?
It only lasted for maybe like 2 songs. After the second song recorded, and then I saw that everyone else had notebooks and pens. I'm like, let me go ahead and switch it up and get on the same wavelength. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny.
Gotcha. When did you make your first song? First song and your first project. What are those 2 dates?
First song was It had to be around 2008, maybe 2008 or 2009. Because I think I was a junior in high school, so probably 2009. And then first project, I was a freshman in college, so that was 20. It was the next year, so 2011 was the first project, and yeah, that was an interesting time as well too, because like I'm just in college now, trying to put out music, and I don't know how to navigate this realm because I don't really know anybody here. So it's like it was just an interesting time trying to figure out like how to make music in this new environment, but it was still fun as well.
Yeah. How have you seen when you look back on that first song, and which is I think you said what, 08?
Yeah,
Oh,
08, 09.
so you look at it that first song in 08, 09, that first project 2011, and you look at where you're at now. How does that feel? What do you think about your old work? Man, no, what's your thoughts on your
My old work, it's hard not to laugh at my old work, but I think that's with every artist.
Yeah.
Like if you're not laughing at your earliest stuff, you might not have made enough. You might have not progressed enough in life
Mm.
just yet. Because I like literally crying laughing at some of my older stuff. Just audio is way too loud, no ad libs, there's no tone in my voice, so it sounds like I'm just reading. It's just awful, you know what I'm saying? But no, I'm very, very proud of like the direction I went with the music because back then, this is before I did anything with computers. So when I picked up music, I had no agenda in my mind of what to do with it. So to see now that I'm kind of incorporating things like tech into it, something that I never saw happening, but I see the benefit of it now. I'm very, I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, and being, you know, tech software, and we were talking a little bit earlier about some of the software tools that go into making music.
Mm.
You know, are you doing any other engineering, producing for your music? Have you started to play around with kind of the software side of making music? We've been talking about bridging the gap the whole time. I'm just wondering if you're doing any of that
Mhm.
with your own music yet.
So as far as like producing, like I tried producing at a certain period of my life, like during college, but then I'm like, I don't know, producing is hard to me because like I overthink, so I just start to add too many sounds to beats, and that's when stuff just I don't know when to stop adding sounds. Like it'll just have every hi hat, every snare, every 808, and it's just like this. You can't even hear the beat now. But so I don't do the producing thing too much anymore. Like the most that I'll do as far as experimenting is trying to like I'm using Logic for like the actual recording of my song. So I'm trying to understand how to adjust the vocals the way it's not coming in too high. Recording in certain like stereo versus mono and things like that. Just those little inconsistencies that I had in the past that I'm trying to perfect now to get better sound quality for the music that I'm putting forward.
Yeah. And Mwanje, what you got to say about all that? You know, so Mwanje plays behind the boards. He got a couple things out there that he cooks up, so don't let him fool you, man. You know, he a teacher and all this good stuff, but he'll press them buttons now, make some magic happen.
Yeah, I mean that.
Are you a producer?
Yeah. I
Okay.
produce. I started back in high school. I always say this story. My cousin charged me $30 to put Fruity Loops on my grandmother's computer, and I come to find out as I got older, I could get it for free. So he still $30. But no,
He was charging you for the service.
he was charging me. No, sure. Once I figure out how,
Sure.
man, once I figure out how to torrent, oh, it was over. It was over then. So and all that stuff like that, and bear share and all that, man. I was like, this is too easy.
Bear share. Ooh.
Yeah, bear share, LimeWire, all that stuff. I'm like, I get these programs for the free ski.
LimeWire.
I had the cracked FL Studios. It was fun. It was better than the pay version I got now. But I get what you're saying though, like adding all the different sounds and going overboard. But even producers are programmers as well too. You just program the sound, and in the way now I don't audio engineer a lot of my stuff because, like you said, that's definitely a whole nother art that you really got to specialize in that. And kudos to those that can produce and EQ and rap and sing, all that stuff. You're a beast if you can do all that stuff, and you're eliminating a lot of jobs, which helps you out, especially as a new artist. But that takes a lot. So I get what you're saying on that piece, because it's definitely an art to it. But there's AI now, so I'll just throw my vocals onto Auphonics, which I do sometimes for the podcast now, and Auphonics will clear everything that you need to clear out. It will level everything that you need to level out. All you have to do is tell it what you want, and it'll do it for you. And you get 2 free hours every month. So I have like 30 emails. So I have that's almost 2 weeks worth of hours of music now, or not music, but free audio engineering that AI does. So it's just so many tools out there now that just can do it for you, and it can speed up your process. But something about the art.
Now, you know what's crazy? I want to. I don't mean to cut you off, but I like the point you just made about like the producer being able to program a beat, because that is a very good analogy, because that's exactly what, when I see my other producer homies like DH, he's a producer, and every time I like see them, it's like they're moving sounds into the right categories, the right tempos. If anything is off slightly, you can't explain why it's off, but you can hear it.
Yep.
And that's kind of the same way I feel when I'm coding. It's like
producing.
You have to be very precise with these type of things, because when you're not, the whole thing can just sound completely off, or for programming just not work. So I have a huge respect for producers and salute to them, because that's just like the other side of the coin when it comes to like programming. They're doing the exact same thing, just on the other side.
I say to the producers that use MPCs, you're definitely programming. You're taking that sound and putting it into this little cube or this little pad here, and then you got to tap it to make, and you're like, that's the next level I want to get to, is the MPC level. But that for sure is programming, because you're taking this sound and then you're tweaking the sound a little bit, and you're now putting this sound into a pad where if you touch it right now, there's nothing going on. But out of the blue, once you put it into this pad, it's a whole sound that you can do. So shout out to those MPC producers too, because them the ones right there that are dope. And those are definitely coders. Because
hold on, you gotta school me on the MPC producer. Is that the ones that like they tap and they making the beats like, and they
on the pad,
like like DJ Premier?
That's what I was looking for in my brain. You called them. Yep. That's what I was looking for, like DJ Premier and all those cats that would program the actual board. And it's crazy, because I know a school got MPC, and I was looking at it. I'm like, this is programming. This is definitely programming. You're programming or to do something that it wouldn't do without you doing what you're doing. So it's super interesting in music. And like you said, going back to bridging the gap, music and technology go hand in hand, and it's been going hand in hand for years. Now it's just a little bit easier to do some of the things with the different programs that we have. And once again, AI. And now we're graduating to Suno, where you could just tell it what you want, song you want, and it will give you that song.
And I think I saw K-Camp on IG recently, like with an MPC. I think it's the same one y'all have in the studio at your school. They got a super dope studio. Yeah. And I think you said they got like the same mixer or board that Dr. Dre uses or something. Yeah. Like they got a dope studio there. Now, but I think that red MPC that y'all have in there, I think I saw K-Camp on there like playing around with a sample a few weeks ago on his IG page. Yeah. So it's the technology in music now. It's super dope, and I need to get deeper into it. I haven't really played around in the studio before, but I know there's a lot there.
The Akai Pro MPC 1. That Joker is nice. Yeah. But yeah,
I really love seeing the MPC producers. I ain't gonna lie. I like even watching old documentaries of Kanye. Yep. I'd be like, bro, that's what genius looks like.
Yeah.
I can't explain it, but them videos of when he's just knocking it, and then it's starting to just come together. I'm like, man, yeah, it's amazing seeing that type of stuff. That's crazy. I didn't know it was a name for that though, but MPC producers. That's dope.
Will I Am is another one that does a great job bridging the gap with technology and music. I mean, some of the things I've seen him do and some of the things that he got going on, like he has a whole AI version of himself. Like it just sounds crazy. Like it does crazy stuff. And so that's somebody else that has bridged music and technology into one, and just hearing him talk about what he's doing, he's definitely like 20 years ahead of us with some of the craziness.
Were you at Afrotech last year, Trey? No. So before we start recording, we're talking about Afrotech, y'all. So were you at Afrotech last year?
I was.
So
I was at Afrotech last year.
Did you hear Zaytoven out there?
Yeah, man, it's crazy. He was outside one of the sessions, or whatever, but he had like a booth set up with his plaques and stuff behind him, and just answering questions, taking pictures and stuff. He was a real cool dude. Of course, I didn't think he'd be either way because I never met him, but I took a picture with him and everything. But I thought it was dope to have someone as advanced in the music field as he is. Like we know his catalog. You know what I'm saying? Like it speaks for itself. So to have him at Afrotech, I thought that was amazing. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that he was so easily accessible to where a freshman, what I'm saying, could just go up to him and ask him about music.
Yeah,
I think that was dope. So yeah, that was a good part having Zaytoven there.
Did you get to hear what he spoke about? I'm just wondering if he talked about kind of some of I would imagine being Africa, he talked about some of the integrations, the overlap between tech and music, especially at this time and age. Did you get to hear any of that from him?
He wasn't a speaker, actually. He was more so, he just had like a booth set up outside, so he never actually gave a speech. But I would have loved to hear him talk about that, though. That I'm sure that he would have had some good insight on just where the music is going and stuff with technology now. I remember I asked him a question. I think I asked him a question like, is it harder being a producer today or back then? And he pretty much said like it's way easier today because of course they have way more tools now, So the things that the tools he had to use to help produce for Gucci Man is like doesn't compare to the tools that they have now. You know what I'm saying? So he was pretty much saying the same thing. Like technology is really starting to push music in a way that is more consumable and more enjoyable for everybody around.
Yeah, I mean, even as a DJ, I think about like I couldn't imagine I'm trying to rock a party and I got to be thinking about, right, I got to make sure I got all these records in this crate that I need and able to switch them out at the right time to get the next song I need on these different projects. Like I need to just spend some time talking to like some older school DJs who that's how they came into the game, just to understand how that worked. Cause having Serato now, and we got Tidal, Apple Music, just we're making playlists on the regular. But like with my Serato, like whatever I want, I could just drag and drop. Like I'm good to go. Just slide my fader over, and I'm good. I'm Gucci. So I just even just so we talk about sampling from a producer. Like you had to go to the record stores and just get stuff and hope it was the right thing. Like there was no preview of it. You had a plastic wrap on that thing. You just had to get what you got and hope you had something in the stack. Whereas now you can go on YouTube, just look something up. So, yep, I like that one. Let me go download it real quick. Like it's just, and that's just one aspect of it. You start getting into the programming element of it, if you will, with the softwares and everything. I'm sure it's a whole different game changer. You start talking about AI and yeah, man, it's I'm very curious just to learn a little bit more in depth, just what's happening with the engineering and production world these days. So Travisty, man, before we hop into this vibe talk segment, we always like to get an understanding of the artist's creative process. So what's yours? How does the art come into fruition for you?
So for real, for me, it is, I got to hear the beat first. I don't ever have a set topic in mind when it comes to the music that I make. I really go off the beat. So typically for me, it's like I have like an app downloaded called BeatStars, and it'll literally just play beats after beats, and then it'll kind of like Spotify. It'll like curate similar beats that you have liked, and keep going with that. So I might just go for a walk for like an hour or two, just playing beats, and then from there, kind of get a melody going. I might say some lines or something like that, or I'm seeing something when I'm walking by, and then the thought kind of comes in that form, and then from there, then I'll start developing the song. But it always is, what's the beat? What am I getting from this beat first? Because like we got to really give respect to producers. Like they're kind of like the I don't even know the word for it, but like they kind of map the entire vision out, and then the rapper is just kind of like carrying out a little bit, so to speak. But the producer, like you hear the beat before you hear anyone talk, so like it's very valuable. So when I'm hearing these beats, it's just more so like, all right, how am I feeling? What am I thinking? Where's the vibe taking me? All right, let me talk about this, and my problem also I had to admit though is I start a lot of songs and don't finish them. I need to get better at that. I'll hear some, it sounds fire. Next day, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? And I'm on to the next
Yeah.
one. I gotta like really lock in and start finishing more songs. But that's typically my process. I hear the beat, get a vibe, and then just start orchestrating.
That's what.
And with your writing, are you so you going on these walks, you're hearing these thoughts? Because we had a lot of artists come on the pod and say, "No, I used to write everything, and I just stopped because I had too many thoughts going." So like with you, are you still you like pen and pad still? Are you jotting down your notes in your phone as it's coming to you? Are you just spitting it and punching in? Kind of what's your writing process?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I when I'm when I'm curating whatever I want to rap about, I do like to not write it. Like I don't like to the first bar that comes to mind, I write it down. I don't like doing that because I've noticed when I do that, now I'm so focused on rhyming this next
Mhm.
bar perfectly with this first bar, and it's just like it don't gotta be that. It's too much overthinking, trying to over engineer it. So I like to just I'll think of a bar, next line, I'm still thinking about it. I'm not writing anything down yet. And until I have at least a good 8-16, then I'll write it down. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to mess up the process of everything that's coming to me right now because I kind of feel
Mhm.
like divinity is like creativity or creativity is divinity at work. So like when it's really
Yeah.
flowing, it's just that's the divine working through you. So I don't want to cut
Mhm.
it off by trying to take notes real quick or stopping the beat or whatever it is. So I get the mental picture of what my verse would be and then I write it down. So it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I had to laugh because you had said Beat Stars, and I was like, "Oh snap!" I got a little, I got an account on Beat Stars, and I have been on that mug in years, and
Yeah, okay.
and I forgot how many beats are on there. And I believe Lil Nas X found his first record on uh BeatStars, and I think he paid like $20 for it, if not maybe 100 at the max. And that's how his career got popped off,
Well,
because of BeatStars. So that's interesting that you said that. But a lot of people can hear
yeah.
that beat, and that's them. That's where they at. So it's interesting you said that BeatStars. I just forgot all about BeatStars.
Yeah, B Stars is like because it really is YouTube, but
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
B Stars app makes they simplified it so much to where it's like they know the beats that you would like to keep hearing. YouTube is a much broader umbrella. So I might hear a beat I like, and then it'll play a Young Thug song. It's just like, yeah, that wasn't the route I was trying to go with it right now. I'm still trying to make something right here, but they're like, this beat sounds like Young Thug. So like, yeah, B Stars is just a more simplified version for getting it done. I feel like.
That's dope. That's dope. You mentioned BeatStars. I show.
Cool.
Hold on, let me pop on here real quick.
Do you find yourself being a little more creative at a certain time of day? We just had Frank Luke on the last episode, and he was saying like he write in the morning. He don't do too much writing at night.
Yeah.
He usually hop in the shower. He just got some beats playing, and he'll be in the hand still wet, just reaching out, grabbing the phone on the toilet, typing down these words that's
Mm.
coming to his mind. While he in the shower listening to these beats. Is there like a certain type of time of day or location where you feel like your divinity works a little more actively than others?
I mean, early morning is definitely at its peak. You know what I'm saying? Like if I wake up, drink some water, get the day started, and then I go for a walk early, then it's a little bit smoother, more consistent as far as the thoughts. But it's an all day thing, really. Like I can have these thoughts at any point, or want to start adding to a song that I've already started at any point throughout the day. So I don't. not really a specific time frame when it's best, but the mornings are pretty easy for me. You know what I'm saying? It comes smooth in the mornings.
Yeah. You found that account, Moanje? What you looking like right there?
Oh yeah, no, I found it. Yeah, I definitely found it. I haven't.
So that's crazy. So you got a BeatStars account, and you don't even be on it. That's crazy.
I just haven't been making beats as often as I used to earlier back in the days. Like now it's been more podcasting. So and then I will use, and I haven't really made a beat from scratch in a long time either. Now I use more so like Splice, and Splice does a great job of going back to what you're saying, like what vibe I'm looking for. Splice will be like, oh, here goes some samples, and I'll just kind of piece the samples together and then go from there. So and then of course if I need to, grab some 808s or something like that, I can then just, pop in and use my keyboard to do what I need to do. But it's just been mainly using Splice to like, but for me, Afro beats has been like my thing lately. And I'm like, okay, let me go to the Afro beat section. I'm like, I like that. Let me get these drums. Let me take this melody and let me take this. And then I'll just put it all together. I'm like, okay, this is a nice little song. So like the last tracks, several tracks that I did were all from Splice. Splice. So yeah.
Spicy.
Yeah. Spice girl that got into yeah, that's dope. That's dope. So I don't know, Devin, you ready to get into some music?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Yeah, man. So the whole reason we're here today is because about 2-3 weeks ago, you dropped Cold Flows. I think you dropped Cold Flows Volume 5 recently, and you dropped Loops on your IG page. And I was like, wait a minute, what's happening here? And like I think I was in the kitchen cooking breakfast for the girls or something. I just kind of stopped in my tracks. I was like, wait a minute, this is hard. Like I sent that video to a few people, especially my guy Dev. Oh, for sure. Dude. That's what we all about, man. Like my guy Dev, shout out to Dev. He out in Dallas now. But he does sequel development. But he's just a guy, from Northside Milwaukee. Definitely a Milwaukee guy. When you see him, hip hop through and through, gonna have his J's on, but he's coding by day, but loves music, at the same time. Yeah. So I sent to him, he's like, "Oh, this fire." And I had no clue who you were. So yeah, I saw this video. I was like, "Hold on, man, wait a minute. We gotta get Trey on the pod for sure. We gotta talk about this." So, man, yeah, let's hop into this vibe talk segment. And I want us to, so just in case wanted to get a rundown before I hopped on. But our vibe talk segment, we play a few snippets of a few songs. We usually do about 4 songs, but we play a little snippet of it, and then we let you talk to us about it. Let us know how you created it. Maybe there's a fun fact about it, something that we just wouldn't know any other way. A fun story of how it came to be, just something you want the listeners to know about that song. So that's how the Vibe Talk segment goes. Just gives us and the listeners an introduction to your catalog, little taste, and then entice them to go check out more after the fact. So where you want to start?
Sure. We can start wherever y'all want. We can start loose. We can start object-oriented programming, or wherever y'all want to go with.
Well, before you get into Cold Flows, I want to say the best for last. I need to go to Gold Rings because this stood out to me.
Hey, I appreciate you mentioning Gold Rings, because when you said that, I was like, maybe he's talking about a different Gold Ring, because I kind of put it out of my head, and he was like, we need to talk about Gold Rings. I'm like, oh, he's trying to win championships. I don't know, like trying to win championships with this podcast. I didn't put it together. That's why I said, "Are you talking about the song?" Okay. I'm rocking.
Because I was going through the biography, and of course I saw the Cold Flows, and I was like, okay, cool. But I was like, oh, is that Sonic the Hedgehog? And I'm a big Sonic fan. Like I'm always stop if I see Sonic. So I was like, I gotta hear this. And I was like, before I heard the beat, I was like, I need to know if they sampled something from Sonic, and of course you did. So here is Gold Rings.
For sure. Yeah, let's go. Look, I'm chasing the gold. I'm chasing my dreams. That's cliche, but you know what I mean. Yeah. I'm chasing my dreams, I'm chasing the goal, I'm chasing some things. Yeah, hey, look, I'm chasing the ring like I'm Sonic. I've been hooked on it like phonics. Relationship strictly platonic. They ever me now, how ironic. Now I ain't moving no dope, but I feel like the blow when I'm moving is cold. I just hit 2 in a row. I might just go back and get 2 for the 4. Chasing the ring like I'm Sonic. I've been hooked on it like phonics. Relationship strictly platonic. They envy me now, how ironic. That hit you weak in my soul and kept me from reaching my goals. I had to even a score. I feel like I'm Sonic when reaching for gold. Yeah, my ties with 9 lives, got 5 guys in the kitchen. Never did a bye-bye, nor a side-by, no lies I didn't mention. I'ma hit my guys, then slide by, yeah, ride by for a visit. Leave it up to my guy, or I lie, or your guy, no difference. Yeah, pray up, y'all get it, yeah. Take things, rearrange things, not street enough so I can't bang, and I'm too clean so I can't stain. I maintain in my same lane and focus on progression. I gotta take notes in every lesson. I gotta move low and with discretion. I'm
chasing the ring like I'm Sonic. Yeah,
Man.
that
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
record. Like, what made you? What was the inspiration behind that record? Obviously Sonic, but how did you get there?
Yeah, it was kind of like just a moment in life I was feeling where it's like I feel like Sonic was like just very symbolic for like the whole you get all these rings, you're doing everything good, right? And then all it takes is like one bad mistake and you get set back a lot in life. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the difficulty of life. It's like you can make 1,000 right decisions, but one bad decision and you can get thrown off completely. So I think I'm not exactly sure what I was going through completely, but it was in the mindset I had was like I'm chasing the rings regardless. I'm still going to keep doing and pursuing the things I need to. And when I fall off, I'm gonna fall off hard probably because it's just that's life. But then if you notice at the very end of the song, I get one more ring,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just like I'm right back at it. And you know what I'm saying. So that was kind of the inspiration for the song.
I like that metaphor because you're right. If you ever play the Sonic game, you can have 100 rings, but if you make that one mistake, you lose 20. And so it's like,
Yeah.
like it's like okay, I get it. Like you said, you can make that one bad mistake. Now you got to get back to it. So now you got to collect 100 more rings, or at least to keep the 20 to stay alive or stay afloat. And if you don't have any more rings, you're out. So that's dope. I'm glad you said that. That's dope. That'll preach right there.
My Lord.
And I appreciate. I really like deep down appreciate y'all appreciating the music as well.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to take that for granted. Some people take that for granted, but every time I have someone tell me they like a song, that means a lot to me for real. So I appreciate that.
For sure. You're artists, and we know how artists are. I know how I am.
Yeah, no, you're sensitive.
Yeah.
What Eric about this? I'm sensitive.
Sensitivity.
Yeah.
Let's go to the new project. And one thing I want to talk about with this, so maybe we come back to it afterwards. From a technology perspective, I know you had some challenges actually getting this one up on the DSPs. I think it was up, it came back down. So I'm glad it was back up. I was able to listen to it on the road last night. But a Major Travisty, this is you and your boy Major. You mentioned a few times. I want to go to Contagious one, Jay.
All right.
Cause I was on the road last night. And I just had the project playing. I stopped by Bojangles, which Bojangles in Thomasville, North Carolina. Y'all trifling if you listening to this.
Uh-oh.
Y'all gave me a chicken biscuit with lettuce and bacon when I asked for a Bo chicken sandwich and making BLT. Y'all trifling?
Yikes.
Y'all wrong for that. And them fries were so salty. But nonetheless, I was eating my BLT chicken biscuit. That was supposed to be a Bo chicken sandwich, and I was listening, and Contagious came on. I was like, "Wait a minute!" I had to go look at the credits on that for a second because Major was sounding like somebody else. But we'll listen to it. We can come back to that.
Contagious.
Oh man, it's the chronic. You don't need to worry about it.
It's for the nights that stayed up. It's for the nights that stayed up. It's It's for the nights I stayed up, trying to call my mama like I made it. Never forgot where I came from, and grinding hard in the basement. When they was in the club, I was in the studio, the limits never faded. And the feelings when they hear I came up, could see the looks on their faces. I told myself I can't quit it. Every day I push a limit. They used to try to bring me down. I never let them bring my spirit. Seems like it's been a whole lot of hating going around. It's contagious. They lies been a long time coming, never not far. I'm attacking.
So far when he came up, hit the fortune, not famous. Nothing new, but the pain sucks. Switching clothes never changed up. If you ain't waking up with some goals, then we really not the same, bruh. I'm just trying to hit these finger rolls, getting points up in the paint, bruh. Funny how they try to blame us. Never focus on the same stuff. Never do track and field. Always stay switching lanes tough. Going in for the kill, ayy. Going in for the bills, ayy. Going in on the road, ayy. Going in for the wheels, ayy. Taking hits, but I'm still in the ropes, ayy. I'ma buy my dad a crib and a boat, ayy. I'ma give my mom whatever that she wants, ayy. And I'm stunt, watch me float, ayy.
It's one of the nights I stayed up, trying to call my mama like I made it. Never forgot where I came from, and grinding hard in the basement. When they was in the club, I was in the studio, the limits never faded. And the feelings when they hear I came up, could see the looks on their faces. I told myself I can't quit it. Every day I push a limit. They used to try to bring me down.
It was in the club. I was in the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I gotta say, I don't know if I mentioned that, but rest in peace to my homie Major. He's
I saw you. I think when you posted it, I was like, I think Major might have. I think you said "Long Live Major." So I was like, dang.
Yeah. He passed away last October, coming up on a year now. But man, I would have never even touched this music stuff if it wasn't for him. Just being honest. So yeah, big shout out to him.
Man, so for one, I love the dichotomy of this song because you listen to the hook, it's saying a lot of hate going around, it seems like it's contagious. So talking about the hate and people hating on you trying to do your thing, you come in the verse, like, hey, if you ain't waking up with goals, we really not the same, bro. Like I love that dichotomy. You talking about, you was in the club, I was in the studio. We focus on different things. Yet the hate is still there. Like, it's crazy. So that was one thing. I love the dichotomy of the song. But two, I'm eating my Bo chicken sandwich biscuit with no mayo or sauce or anything. Nonetheless, so I'm eating my Bojangles last night on the road back to Charlotte, and I'm like, they got Dro? They got young Dro here? What the word? I was like, wait a minute. I said, let me look at my phone real quick. But all I saw was Major and Travisty. I was like, okay, I guess Major just he got a little Dro in him. But I was like, man, they do AI. Trey a software guy. I was like, I don't know, they got Young Dro in the studio, or they didn't put the AI on here. But I was like, man, it sounds like Young Dro on this Contagious record.
You know what's funny? That's crazy. I don't want to say like my homie was trying to sound like Dro, but Dro is like, he's very well respected in our group of friends. Like Dro, it's no slander when it comes to Dro. So like, maybe he was trying to get in the Dro bag. I don't know. I don't want to put that on him. You know what I'm saying? It was a good verse regardless. But that's funny that you say that.
Yeah, I don't think he was, because there's a few more songs on the project where I say, okay, that's just kind of how his voice is.
Yeah.
Like
it was always a very strong, aggressive, but then still kind of like a little raspy with it. But he was really, 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 really talented, man. Very talented individual.
Nah, definitely. Long live Major, man. Nah, dope record, man, for sure. And y'all make sure you check out that new project, A Major Travesty, by Major and Travesty. It is on your DSPs now. May not have been a week ago, but it's out there now. So we're not going to dwell on the past. It's out there. One question for you from a technical perspective, and maybe something for the artists that are listening. What was the challenge you faced getting this up on the streaming platforms? With it coming down, having to go back up. And I was even looking at it, and it may just be my phone. My phone is janky right now. But I think it's labeled as like May 2003 or something like that. So what are some of the technical challenges you face getting the project uploaded? And what are the lessons you would have for just other artists who may be listening, or things to look out for?
Dang, that's a good question. Well, so like, I think some advice I would give. Well, let me first say, like, the issue that I was having with the DSPs was, it wasn't really an issue with the DSPs. It was my overthinking again. I was trying to be engineer of the year, and I was going into all the songs, and I'm like, this is too loud. Let me turn this down like 3 decibels. And then when I heard it in Logic, I'm thinking that's good. But then when it got to DSPs, nothing. It was all very low. I'm playing in the car and I'm like, this song used to knock, but it's not knocking right now. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like we whispering. So that's when I took it back down because I'm like, the average listener probably wouldn't be able to pick that up. But I've been hearing these songs for a while, so I know that they supposed to knock a little bit. So that was the issue that I had there. So I guess like some advice that I could give maybe someone is to not overthink it when it comes to this music stuff. Like it's all off of feeling. Like sometimes the logical part of your brain just needs to shut off when it comes to music and just go off the feeling. It'll save you a lot of time. It'll probably save you a lot of money as well. Just let it go off the vibes, go off of the intuition, go off the feeling when it comes to making music.
Yes, sir. Have you experienced that, Mwanje?
Oh yeah. I was thinking about that. Where it sounds one way in the software, but then you get to the car test, it sounds totally different. Yeah, absolutely. And that's just, in my brain, I was like, man, you just got to turn everything back up. You got to kind of like expect it to be, different. But, the way to really battle that is having really, really good speakers. And, of course, I don't know where you recorded this at, but, the studio, the big major studios have the best speakers, and that way they can EQ it on those speakers and it sounds really good. I mean, I got some Rocket 5s here, but like I said, those are dope, basic speakers for beginners. But like I said, the speakers I showed you in the studio where they had the sub coming from the top and the bottom, then left and the right on one speaker. I'm just like, man, I need to like live here. But yeah, that definitely has happened before.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm like, something when we were talking about earlier is like as far as what I'm learning more about on the music side or the engineering side, that is something I'm trying to get better at. Is like hearing my music with unbiased ears, like how would this sound to the masses? And that's something I've been trying to work on.
Yeah.
That's a struggle as a creative.
Yeah.
That's just whatever you're putting out is always you want it to be just right. There's certain things. What's a good example? Like if I'm
I don't say Kanye, but
yeah, I'm just thinking about me personally because I can be anal like that at times. Like if I want a flyer made, that's a good share the vibes fest. Part of the reason our marketing started so late this year because I was being like super anal about the flyer and certain things and the way it needed to be done and trying to get the right theme in there and pull that out and all this stuff. We didn't even really use the theme for real this year, but we used it, but not the way we were kind of talking about it initially. But I'm like, yeah, this needs to move over like a quarter of an inch, like move it right there, like it's gonna it makes a difference, and it's all this stuff, which it does. But like to the average eye and the average person, like they're not thinking about that. And even as a DJ, like when I'm in sets, sometimes there'll be something that doesn't go just right, and it'll like almost mess up the whole set for me. I'm just thinking about that, but I have to remind myself, like the audience didn't even hear that. Right. Like you heard it because you're a DJ. Like this is supposed to happen. That filter's supposed to hit a certain way, or you supposed to hit your EQ like this right there, or you needed to mix it in right here. Like we hear those things as musicians and artists and creatives. Like we look for those very minute details, but the average person, it's a vibe, like you say, going off the vibes. So it's
yeah. Most people when they hearing the song, it's like it's the first time they're hearing it, so they don't have the ears that you had hearing a song 100 times are going to be way more focused on every drum, hi-hat, vocal pitch, all that. But they're hearing it for the first time, and it's just like, I didn't notice it. You know what I'm saying? So that's true. From a musician standpoint, we're always very anal about all of that. Yeah. And it's kind of a gift and a curse. It makes the song better to be that focused, but then it also, you might overthink things and make it worse than what it needs to be. So
absolutely,
gift and a curse.
Absolutely. Where you want to go next? And I think I want to do 2 cold flows, but we could maybe do one more regular song before that if you want to.
No, I'm gonna go Fear. Let me.
Yeah.
You want to go? Okay. Nope, you got it. Go ahead.
So you sure? Okay. I'm gonna go Truth Be Told.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Here we go. Truth Be Told.
Yeah,
I'm really packing now, I'm packing out. Rap when I pack them down, tick-toe, then I tag them out. Look, yo, how deep the rabbit hole goes. I guess we gotta understand why the rabbit really rapping now. Rapid fire pizza. Look, everything perfect, everything perfect. Yeah. Look, I'm really active now, I'm rapping now, who's laughing now? Been through the school of hard knocks, but toss that cap and gown, no capping now. Young Denzel, but really not no acting now. You wanna know who's hot? My brother ask around, is Travis now? Yeah. It's like this rapping shit, my passion now. I grab the wheel, no crashing out. I aimed up at the stars, so when I land, I still be past the clouds. You wanna know about this code and shit? My nigga asked me how. My brain is overflowing with this knowledge, I wanna pass it down without being too aggressive. While understanding life don't come with loss, it comes with lessons. While trying to provide for for friends, the ones that gave me these blessings. While still being human, trying to escape from stressing. But I try to keep it cool, calm, and collected. I told my homie Josh, my second home somewhere in Texas. I hit my mama with good news, she tell me that's impressive. And truth be told, I've been the man since I was adolescent. I'm up next. Only hit the gym 3 days a week. Best believe that a nigga still gon' flex. Heard them talking about the naysay. Still ain't seen a payday. My nigga out the grass. One hand on the mic, other hand just a type. Both hands, I am blessed. So what's next?
Man, who made you mad that day? You had a point to prove.
I was just trying to get in a different bag. My apologies. I forgot I cursed on that song. I don't
you
know
good.
if
you good.
You sure? Okay. Listen, I'm sitting here like this is the wrong song.
Nah, you perfectly fine.
I'm sitting here like, that's crazy. Each one I'm hitting, I'm like, nah, I'm too loud right now. That's crazy. But okay. My bad.
No, you are good.
You good, bro. You good.
Good.
You good. We've had far worse on the show before.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
One of our episodes was called Ear Sex in a Big Black Truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. It made you want to listen. Exactly. Go check that
Wow.
out. Nonetheless, truth be told.
Truth be told. Truth be told. Talk to us about that one. Truth be told.
Yeah, man. Truth be told, it was like just heard the beat again, and it was I was just trying to get into a different pocket than I normally get into. But it's like when I like really get into a certain bag, I like to stick with that flow for a little while. So that was like I had like one bar with the whole acting now, rapping now, and I just rapping now, Travis now, acting now, rapping now. I kind of get into them type of flows. So that was the same thing that happened here. So really just like having fun, and I hadn't dropped a single in a little while. So I was like, let me just kind of put this out. I'm actually planning to shoot a video for that one sometime next week. So
dope.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm really trying to have fun with this stuff, man. Like just from the tech standpoint, and then also just like my personal music. I don't want to get too caught up in either one to where I'm strictly making cold flows, because then I lose the passion for the actual rapping, or it's just the rapping, and I kind of forget the purpose of creating the educational videos, you know. So I think by doing both of those, it keeps me grounded in both realms.
Do you plan to integrate code flows into your projects at some point, or do you want to keep those completely separate?
I don't know what that looks like. Yet. I wouldn't be opposed to that. But that's something I would have to just think about a little bit more.
Our cover, because I think it's dope. You're in a hoodie and you're in front of a judge and in hopefully your peers. And it's dope, and it just has Trav, truth be told. Who did the cover art for that?
I actually have there's like 3 different designers I typically go to on Fiverr, and it just kind of depends on what vibe I want. If it's more of a cartoonish vibe, I might go with a certain designer, or if I want a more realistic approach, I go with another designer. So I kind of cycle between those 3. But as far as the artwork, it's always through Fiverr, just because I just love the simplicity of it. Just when I need something done, I get it done. You know, trying to go to the designers one-on-one, it could be a lot trying to deal with designers. You know what I'm saying? So I just like through Fiverr, I know, all right, I'm going to get this when I need it. So.
Got you. No.
I need to use Fiverr. I know people have used it and talked about it and got some dope stuff out of it. I haven't used it myself. I need to do that.
Yeah, it just depends on like you got to find like what you really need out of it. I think that's the hard part sometimes too. Is like, what do I want to consistently keep coming back to 504, and is it necessary? But like
Yeah.
for me, I know I need those flyers. I mean, not the flyers, but the album covers. So that's why I always find myself back there. I also need someone for the code flows to make the actual explainer video. I need that as well, so I go to Fiverr for that. So I always have something to go back to Fiverr directly for.
Nice.
Dope.
Let's get into some of these code flows, man. That's what's brought us here today.
Yeah. What volume I want to get into?
I'm cool with object oriented
That's
programming.
the first thing that popped up. Let's do it. You down with OP?
Yep.
Oh, OP. Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
First principle is encapsulation. Let's dive in. This one's about keeping variables and methods private. So what the classes can't change data directly. The said class we need its own getter followed by its own set. of second principle is abstraction. Let me explain. We hide the small details and focus on what we should. For example, when you press a button just to make change, you don't really care about what happens under the hood. Third principle's inheritance. What's a young boy do with old money inherited? Yeah. For example, if a bird had a method called breathe, any bird that extends it has the method it needs. Fourth and final principle, polymorphism. Poly meaning many, you could say we morph in them. Class is the blueprint to any new project. If a class is a human, then Trey is the object. You down with OOP? Yeah, you know me. You down with OOP? Yeah, you know me. You down with OOP? Yeah, you know me. Who's down with OOP? Every last on me. Yeah.
Trey is the object.
That's hard, man.
I appreciate that, man. For real, for real.
I like how you always your ad libs you play with the ears. You might go to the left, you might go to the right. That last one you was in the right. Trey's the object. That's dope. You did it on another song as well too with some ad libs. So that's pretty dope. I always like that. I like when you play with people's ears. Pause. I don't know if it's pause, but it's ear sex.
Hey, listen. While you, it's funny. It's like while you was describing this whole thing, I'm like, there's gonna be a pause moment here, but I'm gonna let him rock out. I'm not gonna be the one to pause him. I'm gonna let him rock out. But I knew at some point he was gonna say something.
It was on his way. It was on his way. I was like, playing with people's ears. It's a pause. It's very pause. That's definitely a good pause.
That's funny.
It's a good pause. It was a good pause.
Oh man.
Where we going next?
Ear play.
Yeah, see, it's no way around it. Like it was gonna come out at some point. Some was gonna sound like, whoa.
It's crazy. Said, look, man, look.
Oh,
Somebody can't wait to get off this podcast episode.
You said what?
I said somebody can't wait to get off this podcast episode. It's an earplay. Let me try something.
Wow, dog.
Try something different.
Object-oriented programming.
Object-oriented. I don't know how we got there, but okay. Where we going?
So like I get with the object-oriented programming one,
yeah,
that was one where it was like I kind of started looking at the code flows from like a perspective of there's different ways to talk about tech. So I could talk about, the softwares that we use directly. I could talk about some of the principles within coding, talk about the languages that we use. It's hard to just say it's just tech because there's just so many different areas and realms that you can go with it. And so I started thinking like, all right, the last one was about software. This one I wanted to be about principles. So like object-oriented programming, what are the 4 principles of this architecture? And then came with the idea for that. And then, the next one will probably be actual software framework, stuff like that. So I think by continuously giving them a different face of what tech looks like, it'll probably keep them more intrigued on coming back because they're starting to see just how abundant tech actually is.
Man, I think you got something special here, man. Like the code flows themselves are dope, but I think you could take like each of these EPs and just build a whole curriculum around it. And now you got something that's scalable, subscriptions, you get into the school systems, and like I think you really got something here, man. That's needed, that's valuable, that's relevant. And tech is going to continue to evolve, and as will your music. Man, it's just something to think about if you haven't already thought about it.
Think about this.
For sure.
Put it in perspective, there is, when I was working at my last school, used Wisconsin Virtual Schools, which is an online platform, and they used they have their own platform called it was Wisconsin Virtual Schools. I think the platform was called Buzz. And like the math section, they would have like a section where it's called vocabulary, and it's somebody rapping like math, like principles, and they're talking about, okay, make sure you carry the 2, or how to find the X. You need to do this, do that, and whatever. And it was called vocabulary, and they was rapping. I thought it was mad corny, but the kids got it, and they were really rapping it. And I was like, oh, this is successful. This is a hit. So definitely, it can definitely be something that can be integrated for sure. Because I've definitely seen it done, and it sticks. So,
and I want to point out, that's a good point that how you just said you thought it was corny, because that was like my biggest issue with even starting Code Flows. I thought it was corny. Like I always looked at it like, rapping about code, it just seems corny. But a lot of my homies, they started saying like it's only corny with the approach that you give it. So if I made raps like, abstract flow, this is how we go, it's corny. Just that you know what I'm saying? Like that structure is corny in definition. But by giving it an approach of, oh, this just sounds like a normal hip hop song, and I'm learning about tech, then it can start to actually get into the ears of the kids, and they not look at it in that lens of, oh, this get this weak stuff out of here. They're actually like, oh, this sounds like what we're already used to. So I'll keep listening.
And that would be the big difference, because the way it was positioned, it's this Buzz, this framework, and WVS is a white backed program, if you will. And so, you hear I'm going through the stuff, and I hear somebody rapping, and I'm just like, oh, okay. The white people found some rapper and they want to put it in the thing. I guess, like you said, this though this is something that you could ride down the street and listen to, and be like, oh, what is that? That's that new, that's that new Travisty right there. That Travisty right there.
Travisty.
That's crazy. I probably should never told y'all that, but
I wrote it down as a title. I don't know. but
I try not to look back on those days. I try to act like that never happened. That don't exist.
Yeah, we don't want to get stuck in those mind loops.
Yeah, mind loops. Ooh, that's where you want to go. Loops next. All right.
So speaking of loops, let's go to loops next.
Okay.
In fact, let's just run down Code Flows Volume 5. I do have a question. I think it's on Code Flows Volume 4. You had a track called River Pod. I just want to know what River Pod is. I listened to it a little bit. I need to go back to it because it's been a little while now, but we can come back to that. But let's go to loops, and then we can go to debugging just to run that. These are short, so we can just run through the whole little PP.
Yep. And it's funny you said that, because I had API request queued up, so that's funny. I go to loops. This is a sample right here.
Look, I said running at it again. This is looping logic just so we repeat a command. But we need to stop it, otherwise the story won't end. And then the song will play forever. I said running at it again. This is looping logic just so we repeat a command. But we need to stop it, otherwise the story won't end. And then the song will play forever. Question number 1, what do you do when your code needs repetition? Somewhere you can execute tasks, make sure no steps are missing. Then repeat the same task again, but now the data's different. Loops can really save us some time, it's more efficient. Question number 2, which one do you choose? We got 4 a while to do, while I'm sitting here thinking how to improve. On the surface it look like they all doing their own thing, but I promise at the core they follow the same rules. Question number 3, really just a statement. 4 loops got 3 parts. The first, initialization. Second is condition. 23rd is the update. As long as the condition is true, I'm taking one break. Nah, the wild and the do-wild playing the same part. Both only move with conditions are still true. Difference is for the wild, we checking before the start, and for the do while we checking at the end of it. I said running at it again. This is looping logic just so we repeat a command. But we need to stop it, otherwise the story won't end. And then the song will play forever. This song will play forever. I said running at it again. This is looping logic just so we repeat a command. But we need to stop it, otherwise the story won't end. And then the song will play forever. The song will play forever. The song will play forever.
Loops brought us here today.
It was Loops?
It was
Okay.
Loops. It was Loops.
That's good to know.
The real I saw him.
I'm always very interested in like what people gravitate to more as far as like what their favorite song is. Because in my mind I might think a certain song is the best one, and then to hear people say, "Nah, I like Loops a lot," I was like, it's very. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying?
That was my intro. I think I knew you did music, but I forgot just because it had been a while since I seen you post anything about it, or talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw you post Loops, and I don't even know how it showed up in my feed that day, but I think you'd be in my timeline, my algorithm from time to time. But this just popped up one day randomly. I was like, "Hey man, this is hard. Yeah, we got to talk a little bit more about this." And then I started getting into your catalog. I saw you had a few different volumes out, and talking about API requests over here. I think you had one by GitHub and all these different things. I'm like, man, this is such a dope, unique concept that's just so useful. It's practical, and especially for those students who are auditory learners, like, man, this is game changing. It's game changing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all seeing the vision and understanding where I'm trying to take it. You know what I'm saying? That means a lot too.
Yeah, and man, it's catchy. It's catchy. Running. Like people that's gonna stick in your head. Let's go to debugging. Something I hate to do.
Mode it is, cause my app, it unfroze again. I'm checking code it is. Now my app is really crashing. It's time to take some action. Let me put a breakpoint on line 3 and see what happens. Yeah, I'm rapping, but I'm trying to tell a story. When it comes to writing any app, debugging's mandatory. Thinking about the price to pay for problems, can't afford them. Hopefully the words I say will show you what's important. We could take this one step at a time. We can start by checking data that we set at every line. We just trying to validate and make sure everything is fine. Or maybe we misusing the API. Maybe we need to check for fee, but instead checking for 5. Maybe we need to divide by 8, but instead divided by 9. Calculations throwing off. Now what errors what we find, but now we know just where to adjust. And debugging is a must.
Yeah, man. That's the next code will be for that one. So it'll be the last one off the volume 5.
Okay. You gonna break down debugging a little bit further?
Yeah. You got the waiting on right now. I'm just waiting on the video, the explainer video to get created. That's like a big component to all of these, because like they got to kind of see visually what I'm talking about as well. You know? So, but it's a headache sometimes, because like I'll be ready to drop it, but then I'm waiting on the guy to make the video. So, but it's all good though.
Are you doing anything with these outside of social media?
I'm not, and I'm glad you asked that. That is something I should look into as far as taking it out of social media. But I also don't know what that looks like either. Like, would that be going to schools directly and trying to talk to them, or, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure where I would present it at. I think social media has been the easiest outlet for me to get it off. But to your point, I think that, outside of social media is another realm that could be just as beneficial. So I need to look into that, spend some more time trying to figure that out.
Yeah. I wonder if there's like, you think about the Nesbys of the world, maybe some of those Nesby Junior chapters. I'm very active with BDPA, Black Data Processing Associates. Most of them are working with high school students, middle school students. And I even think about Nadia Mwanje with Milky Way Tech Hub. I wonder if there's a use case there. Like I just think there's a few avenues.
She had the hip hop architect on there. years ago, and they brought out Lupe Fiasco because I believe he was somehow a part of it. I forgot what way he played, but I remember they had Lupe Fiasco teaching virtually, talking to the kids virtually, whatever. And I forgot the guy who does hip hop architect, but he was from Detroit, and he used hip hop. He used the bars from the songs to create actual buildings, and forgot exactly what that template was like. But that's once again using tech, using music to amplify, tech or in this case architecture, and hip hop specifically. And so it's there. Once you find that lane, once you find that thing, you'll see. I mean, look at Earn Your Leisure. Earn Your Leisure took business finance courses to one of the boroughs. I believe it was Brooklyn, one of the boroughs, and now they're looking to implement it in all 6 boroughs. So it's there.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, let's stay connected. See if there's some resources we have with Share the Vibes or just me in general. Amplify what you're doing, because this needs to get in front of some more people, especially young people. Absolutely, adults too.
Yeah, adults.
Adults too. Like I'm really thinking about BDPA and my guy Jason. We probably gonna get Jason on the pod too, but he does Code Sip Repeat, where he's essentially created. Think of it like a hackathon for adults, where they have a certain business prompt or a problem, and they're using Python to build a solution for it. By the end of that night, and there's a bar and a DJ in there as well. I helped him co-host it in Atlanta at the BDPA conference back in August. The last one he did, but man, super dope experience, and it's 21 and up, so it's adults. Some have been coding, some it's their first time coding ever, but they're learning Python and actually building something in real time. And you having drinks, and there's a DJ going, and it's a vibe. So I don't know. There might be some
overlap. Sounds like a good time.
No, it's a vibe for sure. So yeah, let's stay connected on that for sure, man. We gonna amplify that, man. So man, hey, sure. y'all heard the vibes, man. Travisty, he does it all. He got the melodic flows, like he Roddy Ricch or something.
Mm-hmm.
He got the Derringer, Buffalo Griselda type vibes too. Like I was listening to Summer, I was like, man, this kind of sounds like Stove God Cooks or something could be on here. Like I just hear you over the kitchen stove, man, just cooking up.
That's another thing that I try to do with the code flows. It's like it's not a specific approach to the music I'm doing every time. It could be every type of genre of music. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to be as diverse and digestible to all types of audiences. So, once I get to the point where I can probably even like speak Spanish, I might do like a salsa version of a code flow. You know what I'm saying? I want to keep pushing the genres and incorporating as many as I can while I'm making this music.
Hey, well, it's like we said, hey, music transcends cultures. It's multi-ethnic, multicultural, multi-religion, this is multifaceted. It's a hyphenated art form. So
sure.
The possibilities are endless, brother. So hey man, glad to have you on here today. Glad to learn a little bit more about you, just your story. Like I said, we met through the frat with C2C. And all that you're doing. Ernest Levert, that's his last name, Levert. I knew his name. Yep, Levert. That was it.
Okay.
Yep. That just hit me just mid sentence. I had to say that before I lost it. But yeah, shout out to Ernest Levert, man. Yeah, man, I love what you're doing. And I love bringing examples of people who are doing these jobs, these roles, have these skills that haven't historically been associated with Black culture, for lack of a better word.
Yep.
Or better phrasing. Like you don't, when you hear software development, the first image that pops in your mind probably isn't, young Black man with some facial hair, some locks, and a black tee, who can rap. That's probably not your first thought. So you're changing the narrative. I work in IT as well. I'm not a coder, nor do I have a desire to be. I'm on like the program product management side of things, but we have to keep making sure our young people in general just have these examples of what's possible in the world of tech, because it's lucrative, it's relevant, it's something that everyone needs to know. It doesn't matter what your job is. If you're a sales rep, you need to understand the technology behind the products you're selling. you need to understand how we're using technology to make sales. If you're a teacher and you're teaching students, very few classrooms have chalkboards anymore. They're using smart boards, Promethean boards now. So there's technology it's in all avenues of our lives, and we have to make it digestible for our communities, so we keep a strong talent pipeline and the skill sets relevant in our Black community. And I think the work you're doing as a software developer, but also with your code flows and just being Travisty in general, just being a cool dude who in Colombia every other week doing this thing, and out here spitting these bars and teach you about loops and object oriented programming.
Absolutely.
That's what's needed, man. So ton of respect to you. Love what you're doing. So thank you for coming through and blessing the platform today. Before we get up out of here, how can people connect with you?
Yeah, man. You can find me pretty much on all social platforms. Trey.codes, Trey.codes. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So yeah, those are 3 primary apps that you can find me on. That's where most of my content is on. As far as like if you want to just listen to the songs, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, any platform you can think of, I should be on there. I know for sure Spotify and Apple Music, but I should be on pretty much every platform that you can stream music from as well.
Dope. You know what we didn't get into, Mwanje, we usually try to have a little business discussion, just around the business side of music. So just real quick, have you do you have your paperwork in order, I guess, so to speak? Are you registered with the performing rights organizations and all that good stuff? Getting so you're able to be compensated off your music. Just kind of have you kind of when we're talking about like with the software development and those things, like you stop focusing as much on the business side of it and just try to get back to like the fun and the passion, the skill of it, and doing what you want to do. So I was wondering if it's the same for you on the music side right now, or if you're working on getting the business in order with that as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not heavy on the business side with the music yet. The most I know is like when I upload the songs, they say that I own a certain percentage of or whatever. But I know that there is definitely a deeper legality when it comes to everything that encompasses music, and I'm not privy to that like I need to be just yet. So that is, if I'm being transparent, that is something I got to work on. I'm glad that you mentioned that. Because but the thing is, I will say this: I try to take the right steps as far as like I purchase the beats every time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not ripping producers off for things like that. And then making sure everyone that helps me produce the song, whether it's from the videos, from the engineering, just everything that goes into it, I'm making sure that they're paid how they need to be as well. So trying to cross my T's and dot my I's as much as I can, but I know that there's still a lot of work to be done on the business side.
For sure. Hey, we like to have those conversations, and we know somebody. We know somebody who we could definitely connect you with. Ashell would love to connect with you. So, she was actually our artist curator for Share the Vibes Fest this year. But she has a company, Muse Sample, that's all about music administration and helping artists get their paperwork in order, understanding the business side of it, getting registered with your ASCAP, the BMIs of the world, those performing rights organizations. So you're getting your royalties. She said, hey, anytime your song played more than 30 seconds, you should be getting paid for it. So she helps artists make sure they get those things in line. So we can definitely make that connect for you if you like. We always like to talk about the business side of music, the art side of it, the passion. It's a multifaceted thing, and all of those pieces are important. So we always like to hear the perspectives on it. So appreciate your honesty and your vulnerability, brother. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Devin, Jay. I appreciate y'all. Like, having me on here, it means a lot. You know what I'm saying? You could be anywhere in the world, but you took time to talk to me. So I want to extend my thank you to y'all, and I wish for success and y'all future endeavors just as much.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely, brother. Mwanje, any closing thoughts from you?
No, just a great conversation. Well, I guess that's a lie because I'm giving you thoughts. So yes, great conversation. Like I said, I just followed you on Instagram as well too, and like I said, I see what you're doing is really, really taking off, and I'm glad that it is because we need to see that, we need to hear that. One of the things I was just telling our tech guy at our school, I was just saying, hey, I want to teach my kids AI. I know y'all don't want it to be in there. Y'all got ChatGPT blocked, but in my classroom, I have absolutely free reign to use ChatGPT, because if they're going to compete out in this world and their competitor is using ChatGPT and they're not, they're losing. They lost already. So, so we're trying to figure out a way how to use it, because I want them to be able to know how to prompt. I want them to be able to know how to do different things. So what you're doing, that's all I have to say. What you're doing is spot on and much needed. And once again, we appreciate you telling your story and doing what you're doing. So once again, salute to you, more importantly, because kids that look like us need it, and kids in general, because the economy is changing. And if you don't have some type of technical side to you, you're failing. So we appreciate that.
Right. I appreciate that so much, man. Thank you.
Hey, man. So thank y'all for listening, man. This has been another great episode of Share the Vibes Podcast, Season 3, Episode 3. We're going to keep doing it bigger and better as we go forward. Hey, this episode is all about what we're here for, man, connecting people through music and technology. We've talked about collaboration. We talked about creating music, enjoying it, the business side of it, and we talked about the importance of tech and how we make it relevant and accessible for our community. So, hey, share this with somebody who needs to hear it. Hey, if you've been here with us on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment below, click that bell so you know when we're whatever the influencer be saying. Y'all know the spiel. Do what you're supposed to do. Hey, looking at description, make sure you follow Trey.codes on all platforms. That's TREY .CODES, Trey.codes. But it's linked in the description. So follow the pages, check out his catalog. And like we said in the beginning, this episode is dedicated to our C2C brother, Ernest Levert. And that's Free Radical on Instagram. That's free.radicle. Free Radical suffered a brain aneurysm a few months ago, has a newborn son, and has a lot going on there on his road to recovery. So I believe he's no longer in that coma. So we're super thankful for that, but still a long way to go. So click that link that's in the description. Donate if you can. Share it with somebody. Just spread the word and let's help that family out. That's a great brother doing great things for a lot of people. We want to be there for him as well in this time. So shout out to you, Ernest. We love you. And we're wishing you the best in your recovery. We'll keep you lifted, brother. Trey, again, thanks for coming through. Travisty, 1J, Audio Moguls Media. Make sure y'all tap in with Audio Moguls Media, the network, and all that we have going on there. And make sure you're in tune with us with Share the Vibes, man. Follow us, Share the Vibes LLC, all platforms. Tap in with our other podcast episodes. We got the recaps of Share the Vibes Fest out there. There'll be some more things coming down the pipeline. So we appreciate you for listening. As always, stay safe, stay blessed. Until next time, keep sharing the vibes. Peace.
Peace.